Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick summary of what's going on each week in space, and today we'll be talking about the third week of December 2019. Our first item is the SpaceX Starship, more specifically the launch pad construction for the Starship at Kennedy Space Center. This is going really rapidly. The launch pad infrastructure is already 70 feet tall, and it features a little bit of a different design with a steel mount with a water-cooled thruster diverter. And SpaceX is building on some of the stuff that they've learned through all their testing in Texas of the various rocket engines that they've developed. NASA has a solid budget for the upcoming 2020 fiscal year of $22.6 billion, which certainly sounds pretty good, but there's a fly in the ointment in terms of the Artemis return to the moon. NASA and the White House have requested $1 billion, which fundamentally would be directed toward lunar lander development. And the legislation does not provide the $1 billion, it provides $600 million, so they're $400 million short. So this is a definite threat to the Artemis schedule. And if the political support weakens, if the deadline is not going to be met, that could imperil the whole thing. The bill also includes another $2.6 billion for the Space Launch System. Boeing's Starliner had a nice milestone. It passed the Launch Readiness Review. And this craft, this is the commercial crew entrant by Boeing, is scheduled to launch on December the 20th. And the plan is launch, maneuvering in space, rendezvousing and docking with the International Space Station, undocking from the space station, and then returning back to Earth. And in an unusual thing for an American crewed capsule, it's going to land on land. So it'll be very interesting to see how all this unfolds. Good luck to Boeing with the test. The CHEOPS satellite was launched. CHEOPS is focused on studying exoplanets. The way this works is exoplanets in the thousands have been discovered by Kepler and other spacecraft. So CHEOPS is going to focus in on some of the exoplanets that have already been discovered to try to measure the sizes of the different planets more accurately than before. So this will be exciting information, and we'll have to see what comes of this. CHEOPS was launched by Arianespace using a Soyuz rocket, so sort of an international flavor to this mission from ESA. Despite a beautiful launch, the Starliner test flight ran into problems, and Starliner will not be able to reach the International Space Station. Due to problems with a timer on board the craft, the Starliner isn't going to reach the ISS, but it appears to be in a stable orbit, and the early returns seem to indicate that it is going to be able to return to Earth and land, and then we'll see where that puts us in terms of future schedule. SpaceX got approval from the FCC for more lanes for their Starlink satellites. So if you're not familiar with Starlink, it's a very large number of satellites and lots of different lanes, paths through orbit that the satellites would follow. So the new plan triples the number of lanes to 72 lanes that the satellites will be placed into, and the complete constellation of Starlink is currently planned at 12,000 satellites. And the next Starlink mission is scheduled for late December on a Falcon 9, and they seem to be launching roughly 60 Starlink satellites per flight. Boeing plans to land their Starliner capsule on Sunday morning. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's an interesting landing in that while the Russians used to land capsules on land, American capsules with people on them have always landed at sea in the past. So this is going to be a bit of a first. It's 3 parachutes And then the bottom of the capsule has airbags, is depicted at the lower right of the image there. And it's supposed to land in the western United States. So while there's not been any public statement that I'm aware of about what this means to commercial crew, because the Starliner was unable to rendezvous and dock with the International Space Station, critical aspects of the test flight were not completed. So it seems to me, at least, that they're going to have to do another test flight before astronauts can use the Starliner to get to the International Space Station. So this would presumably push back the timeline for a Boeing service for commercial crew to the International Space Station. That's it for our coverage, covering the third week of December 2019. Hope you enjoyed our show. Happy holidays to all of you. And we'll be back toward the very beginning of the year, covering the final week of December. And we'll see you then. Take care.